You're in for the Hawaii Scenic Tour. Let's move on to another activity. You must have felt it since you arrived. Set your sights and let's start the show. Back to where we left off. Our next stop, Kaneohe. The pattern waits for you there and is willing to show you some more of the racing culture. Also called Tokyo Bayshore Route, or Route B, is a famous stretch of highway for street racers. Almost every racer in the 80s and 90s knows about it. In fact, some of the best drivers have pushed their engines on this very road. Even notorious racing groups, like the Midnight Club, cut their teeth here. And that's what slightly inspired our next event.
in the street is that you shine like a real hasheria with my NSX. Got me interested.
Well, then I believe you're in for a treat.
Oh, yeah? Well, bring it on.
Go for it, driver. This car was made to be first only.
No shame in trying again.
Skyline is an icon. It's a powerful car that takes skill to control.
Yep. Ren spent years taming that beast. That car got nicknamed Godzilla for a reason.
So basically, you crash Ren's car, better leave the planet.
That path is perfect to get a taste of the Wangen spirit, an absolute myth among Japanese street racers.
Yeah, picture the Tokyo Bayshore route, with one thing in mind, never slowing down.
In a Wangen race, you gotta go fast, friend.
Well, guys, I don't think it's gonna be a problem. This is the Skyline we're talking about.
These dragons are massive.
You got a wish to make?
Sharp turn. Careful.
Reminds me of that time Shingo missed a turn during a midnight race, supposedly because he was dazzled by the moonlight.
Oh, shut up.
I remember that. That's some rough driving.
We'll get it this time. Be kind.
Not bad for a rookie.
Our next stop, Kaneohe. The pack is waiting for you there, and is waiting. call this a do-over. Let's try that again. New playlist ahead. Let's go.
Okay, you've got talent. This is getting interesting.
This season is all about luxury cars. If you've played the Ferrari playlist, you know what I mean. But it doesn't end there. The festival has invited numerous guests and brands to take part over the years. And now, the most prestigious brands are opening their doors to us.
With 620 natural aspirated horsepower, and in Riga I was clutch kicking in 5th gear.
Yeah, I remember the same. I was the same as well. Yeah,
like coming
crazy.
Around the turn. Wow!
Podcast brought to you by Red Bull, the Crew Motorfest. About their passions of all things speed, wings and wheels. And if you didn't already know, you can actually listen to this podcast whilst you're playing the game. So sit back, relax, and listen to the athletes that get to drive them in the real world. Let's go. Now that isn't the sound of my SR22 there, but it is the noise of the BMW M4 that you get to play in the game. And I've got with me today two guests on my podcast that have driven it in real life. So Elias Hutunji and Connor Shanahan, welcome to Motorfest, the podcast.
Thank you.
Now this is a car, the BMW M4, that Ellie, you know extremely well. You've been there since the beginning, development stage.
Yes, like this is probably one of our biggest projects that we've done so far as a team. We teamed up with BMW and we actually got
Our luxury car authority, the Archivist, has been invited by the greatest European luxury car manufacturers to discuss our common passion for beautiful vehicles and to show us the places where these jewels are formed.
production cars before they were out on sale, and we transformed them to 1,000 horsepower drift machines, and this is until this day. It's
A grand tour of Europe that you're getting a taste of in this new playlist experience.
it's a dream come true for me.
So I'm going to
Onto the container. You'll discover everything this voyage was about.
throw it back here, Ellie, to the first time that I actually met you. I had no idea about drifting. I'd just come off the back of making a TV show with Red Bull, and in 2018 I came to Mondello Park, which is the House of Drift in Ireland, and you were the first person to actually put me in a competition car, allowed me to start it, and then actually pull the sequential lever, which, you know, moving forward today, I have one of those in my car because I was like, that feels absolutely sick doing that.
Yeah, this was the good old trusty E30 with the big V8 inside. I really love that car. And you might remember that actually the steering wheel was a little bit off-center, a little bit crooked. And when I was sitting inside, I actually had to sit like this because the roll cage was a little bit too close to my helmet. But the thing is, like, when we built the car, I felt it like, and I was like, oh, that doesn't feel right. 3 minutes in the car, gone. Next time in the car, I couldn't even realize that it was crooked, but the car is so much fun. And as you said, like, just feeling like when you press the clutch and put the first gear and you hear this clonk, you can already feel like, okay, this is business. This is serious business now.
I'm telling you guys, no feeling will ever be like when you sit into one of these cars and you clank it into first gear for the first time. You're like, oh, that's proper racing car driving now. Yeah. And Connor, the first time I met you, I mean, you look totally different. You were 15 years old when I first met you, 21 now. Like, you've been in this game a long time, but also not on this planet a long time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I joined the journey at quite a young age, but it's been an incredible journey. I've enjoyed every single moment of it. Meeting guys like you, during the career is probably the most important part of drifting. Is creating memories, doing cool things with everybody. And I think you can agree. You came in 2018 for your first drift event, but now the presenter of Drift Masters. It's quite crazy how fast stuff can change in this sport. But I think the connection what you build with everybody is quite insane. And same with Ellie. I looked up to this guy when I first came to our racetrack because I was a kid who raced karts, and you go to an event and you see a guy with a Red Bull helmet and you're like, oh, that guy must be doing something good. So for me, that was kind of the first moment in drifting when I seen Ellie and Joe. I was kind of had to step back and being like, damn, I wouldn't mind being a Red Bull athlete one day in this sport, and it's cool how far it progresses. So yeah, it's great moments for sure.
Ellie, do you remember the first time you met Connor?
Yes, first time was actually in Ireland. There was a national event on the docks.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yes, I was there. You and your brother were driving, Jack as well.
Yeah.
And I saw those guys going towards walls like with no hesitation, no nothing. Like they were no fear, nothing. And they were driving like hell, and I was like, wow. Because like in more like Central Europe where we were driving, there was like some walls sometimes, but mostly like one wall, a track or something. Most of the tracks didn't have walls, so I was not used to seeing that. In Ireland, it was basically walls all around on the docks, and those guys just hanging it in, and I was like, oh, they are proper. And next time I saw him was Drift Masters 2018. He started the event at the age of 14, he ended the event at the age of 15, and in the middle step of the podium. It was crazy, like beating James Dean back then in fourth, if I'm not mistaken. This was like crazy, and yeah, well deserved, and I knew like there's a bright future ahead.
Would you say, Connor, that was a moment that really put you on the map?
Yeah, 100%, and it's kind of a funny story because I wasn't supposed to be at that race. I was still supposed to drive at a national championship in Ireland and England, and my dad was still heavily involved in our program back then, and my parents were pushing to get us to that stage, but I guess, to try get paid for this sport and all what follows. But it was kind of, there was a realization from my parents being like, oh, if you drive a national championship, it's actually going to cost more money than just putting it on the back of the truck, where my brother was going to be driving in Europe. So I went there, and Thursday practice, I kind of just, honestly, I felt like I just became a different driver that weekend. It was kind of crazy, and
As the Motorfest archivist, I had the privilege to be invited by prestigious European car manufacturers for a
The voyage of our archivist. 13 events, lots of side activities and prize money to win. The Motorfest has spared no expenses on this luxury experience. What is next in line?
All right, let's keep talking.
you drive a national championship, it's actually going to cost more money than just putting you on the back of the truck, where my brother was going to be driving in Europe. So I went there, and Thursday practice, I kind of just, honestly, I felt like I just became a different driver that weekend. It was kind of crazy, and it was nuts. It was the most insane, I think, night, probably winning a championship. It was definitely the night what kind of was like, wow.
The tour starts now.
I don't even know.
Our archivist has documented the whole thing, so we can share with you Here in Hawaii, his Luxury Chronicles.
How to explain it
Each car you'll be driving in this playlist is related to our archivist journey.
in words, and
Get to the event tag and discover what our Luxury Car Authority has in store for you.
obviously looked up to James my whole life, and you know, never at 14, 15 would I even thought that I would have got the chance to battle him, never mind, you know, battle it out in one of the biggest competitions in Europe. So it was definitely the start of, I guess, putting my professional career on a platform.
Connor, I'm going to throw it to you here. I know from being young, like, you have that lack of fear when you're younger. Like, do you think it gave you that push to be able to, like, do you know what, that wall, I'm having it, I'm going in 60, no stress?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I kind of noticed that as I'm getting older. I'm trying not to. I'm not that old, but
Welcome.
yeah, I'm like kind of asking myself those questions. But you know, I think getting back to the point of like the future of the sport is like, it also comes back to you have more time. You know, when you're a 13, 14-year-old kid, you go to school, and you know, for me, my life was literally, you know, I guess at the turning point of my career actually was probably COVID, which was like actually a crazy time because I had nothing else to do. You know, I wasn't, you know, working from home. I wasn't doing anything, so I literally sat on my simulator, played until 4 a.m. every night, and woke up at 12 o'clock and got back on the simulator. So I guess, you know, it comes back to the you know, the generation now. And even for me, I think, you know, winning biggest championship in Europe last year, and probably the biggest tool, what I would say, of being able to do that is still the simulator. You know, it's laps and laps, and I see the guys coming up now, and it reminds me so much of myself when I was that age, because it also comes back to what you asked about having no fear, no worries. You know, you're just in a car and you're not questioning what's going wrong. And, you know, to see like Manoa in the States, you know, that's like, you're kind of, even for me at 21, being like, oh god, you know, we're struggling right now, you know, like it's cool to see. But you know, I think, as I said, it comes down to having the time to be able to do that. But for me, it's still one of the biggest training tools is gaming and simulation as much as possible, and I think that's what helps when you get out on the racetrack.
So we're going to jump into the fundamentals of drifting right now. So this is the most succinct explanation of this sport, which sometimes can be quite difficult to explain, but when you see it, it will all make total sense. So there's 4 main criteria. It's your speed, some say faster is better. Your style, this is your wow factor, how much angle you throw in, how aggressive your initiations are. Your line, this is absolutely imperative. When you're on a drift track, your line is the thing that is going to have you sitting on that top spot or not. And then it is your angle. Now, obviously, when you're driving a car at home, you've got somewhere around 35 degrees of angle. We're talking full luck here, guys, almost 90 degrees whilst you're out there on track. Now, Ellie, it is quite difficult to understand, but once you actually see it, you're like, ah, that is it. That makes total sense.
Yeah, like I think if you see drifting for the first time, you should, in my eyes, start with the qualification, where there's only one car on track, and then you actually can compare the runs to each other, and you will instantly see, okay, this guy really filled the full outer zone in the first turn, so both wheels were in the zone all the way around, the other one maybe fell off halfway, and stuff like that. So, and even like just a single car on track all of a sudden gets really exciting, because then you see, okay, all the guys have really a hard time to approach whatever outer zone 5 very early on the wall, because they come so fast in and they just allowed to break down after the transition and stuff like that. And those little things, they make drifting so special. And like, as I said, like if you watch like 4 or 5 runs, you already will pick up where are the important points and pieces, and then obviously the fun starts when the battles go on. So yeah, this is even more spectacular.
Kind of, don't you just love being asked that question?
Yeah.
And you get asked that question, and it's like, what is drifting? And then everybody has their very own explanation. So I want to hear yours real quick. Elevator pitch. What is drifting?
I think to explain it, it's like you're in a battle, what you're trying to be the wildest driver ever, but to win you need to be the most calculated driver. So it's like you're fighting against each other the whole time. So, you know, I think if you have been interested in drifting and fully don't understand, I think it's for sure worth taking the time to like fully look into it, because as a person who watches drifting, if you understand that, it's way more enjoyable, and it gives you a way better understanding of like, okay, that guy is doing something pretty important.
My trip back to Europe would lead me first when you get these notes, driver. you'll be driving the roads of Maui in the very cars I'm writing about, to get a proper French luxury feel without leaving Hawaii or the festival.
One more time. Remix.
The Acculone and Genti automobile was such an interesting starting point for my tour. A newcomer to the French luxury car market, and their very first machine. This was very exciting.
Mulligan.
To learn everything I needed to know about this car. A car born from the passion of a creator who dreamed of building his own luxury hypercar with 4-figure horsepower and an unparalleled power-to-weight ratio from scratch. By the time you, driver, get... my notes, the result should be in your hands. And soul. The Acculone by Genti Automobile.
get back to Motorfest the podcast.
I leave you to it. How was...
Okay, that guy is doing something pretty impressive, or that guy's just sliding a car, you know. And I think the golden question, what for me, when my friends are always making jokes, being like, it's
this luxury ride for an introduction?
3 pedals and a steering wheel and a handbrake.
For the next event of this playlist, we're going deeper into the French luxury car market.
Can't be that hard.
Get ready to hear everything about our Archivist second stop.
You know, and it's like, I laugh because, you know, it's actually a good point, because it's a good conversation. You know, in my opinion, sliding a car isn't the hardest thing to do in the world, but sliding a car at 100 mile an hour with, you know, millimeters between a door, of trusting him and when he's going to brake, being able to read him, you know, you're doing stuff what reaction times needs to be absolutely insane.
Despite its rare and premium nature, luxury cars can take many forms and come from many places. Of course, they often come from well-established luxury manufacturers, and I was about to see a lot of these on my journey. But my visit at Genti has shown us that a luxury car can bloom from the vision and passion of a single person. And today, my second stop in France has shown that luxury cars can also come from manufacturers that usually keep their distance from the luxury world.
Let's call this a do-over. It's like it never happened. No shame in trying again.
This stop was about a French everyday car manufacturer, Citroën, and their famous Citroën GT. The GT is a car which, according to its main engineer in 2008, was meant to be the supercar of 2025, the same year as this European trip. Talk about apropos. This car was originally made for a video game, but it had such an impact that they decided to make it a reality. At the time, the possibility of having the GT be mass-produced was real. But in the end, the incredible vehicle would remain a concept car for the world to admire and a very privileged few to drive. Citroën GT, my tour was off to a great start. And it was only the beginning.
Back to our podcast.
To be absolutely insanely good, you're doing stuff, you need to understand where grip is. You're feeling all different things, but you're going sideways. So, you know, a racing car driver will look and be like, oh, you've never felt what grip is in your life. And you're kind of like, okay, read 3 mile an hour at 100 mile an hour when you're a millimeter away from a door and see if you can not hit him.
So let's sort of talk about how your choice of vehicle reflects your personality. I mean, I've got a quote here from you, Ellie, actually.
Oh.
From brand new Lamborghini to old 190 Mercedes-Benz with Toyota Supra engines and Mazda MX-5 convertibles, if you can build it and it performs, make it yours and go. Can you tell us more about what it means to make it yours?
Yeah, like in drifting, I think this is one of the beauties, I would say, of the sport. There's not like a place where you go and just buy a drift car and it's finished and you just jump in and drive. Like it's very rare. Like I would say 95% of the teams here developed and built their car themselves. And so you can, while doing so, you can bring your personality into the build. Like some guys want to like drive maximum angle all the time. The other ones want to be super fast. The next one, I don't know, like something different. And this is the thing, like also engine wise. Some guys like turbo straight 6. You have a SR20 4-banger. The other ones want big V8s, natural aspirated, or with big turbos or something like that. And this is like where you really, as a whole team, you can create your own character, not only for you personally, but also translate it in your car, in your livery, in how you approach the events and everything. And this is, in my eyes, very interesting because, like, if you look at like older motorsports, it's clear you want to have the fastest lap time, and there are so many approaches, and everybody or any team knows how to approach it.
So let's talk about your car that you've got here this weekend. Yeah. Can you describe it for me? Like, what does it look like? What does it sound like? What's unique about this one?
So there are many things unique about this car. It's a BMW F22 2 Series. It's actually the first ever built F22 Eurofighter from HKK. Cool. There was this iconic video like 7 years ago. Like I watched it 100 times, full carbon Kevlar body kit. Just looking stunning. And actually what we took is basically the chassis and we put our drivetrain in, the S58 engine from the M4. We developed it further and now it has even more power, more response, and it's in a very small, light, nimble chassis. So this is very unique to me to have a car that is really just like competition.
That's going to be so much fun. And just to explain to you guys at home, carbon Kevlar, I feel like, is the hero product of drifting. Is this, if you hit a wall, if you happen to make some contact with another competitor, this material just folds in and then pops back out again, which is so helpful during drifting, isn't it, Ellie?
Exactly. Because we are, especially here, for example, we run walls all around and you will hit them at some point. And if you have something that just smashes to pieces, it's just gone under the first step, and the carbon Kevlar is, as you said, the hero.
Connor, your car.
Things are getting serious. You're now about to focus on the most luxurious of French luxury car brands. No need to think twice. You've already guessed it.
You've obviously had
our next event, Bugatti, Now and Then.
It's 15, you've had 180 back in the day, and then you switched into the GT86, which is the same as your brother's. Tell people about your car.
Yeah, mine is a GT86 chassis. I've been running this car for 4 seasons now. I would describe this car as, like, in my opinion, the most simplified kind of way of trying to achieve a car what can win events. Is in, like, there's nothing over-engineered. It's kind of a structure what's kind of worked for a long time. Toyota 2JZ, 1000 brake horsepower, sequential gearbox, everything what's lived up to make 1000 brake horsepower, you also can't break it, so it has to have everything what is incredibly strong. And as Ellie touched on, we're trying to keep our cars as light as possible. I would say that I probably have one of the lightest cars on the chassis or on the grid, so that's the achievement. We're building the car so it's small, nimble, can do cool things, and there's some people love the chassis, some people hate the chassis. Me personally, I love it. It's took a long time to get it to where we need it to be, but if I was to describe it, I would just say it's like a mini rocket, and it's does a good job, and I enjoy driving it.
We've got to put it out there. Do you think 1,000 horse
What are we up to?
power is now the benchmark power figure that you need in drifting?
I would say on a high level, yes.
Yeah, it's crazy right now. Like, it doesn't really make much sense, but yeah, it is 1,000 brake power. I remember the first year I drove in Drift Masters in 2018, I had a good 600 brake horsepower. Like,
Same here.
That's with a good dyno sheet, like with a little bit of tire, slip on the dyno. Yeah, I made 600 brake horsepower, and it's like now you're like, if you turn up with 600 brake horsepower, you may as well just
Go home.
Go home. You spent all your money to come here, and you may as well just sit in the grandstand with your car sitting pretty in the pits. So,
But it's crazy. Like, also, I started Drift Masters with 620 natural aspirated horsepower, and in Riga I was clutch kicking in 5th gear.
yeah, I remember the same. I was the same as well. Yeah,
Like
It was
coming
crazy.
around the turn. Wow.
Yeah, there's nothing left. Yeah, it's cool to see that the sport is progressing, but I think it's exciting to see where it goes in the next 5 years, I guess.
Yeah, because that leads me into my next question, which was how have your needs evolved over time? And obviously, at the very core of it, power has just increased, grip has increased, and like with that, you have to develop all of the drivetrain, because if you've got more power and more grip, means there's more stress going through the car, which means more breakages. Like, Ellie, how has that manifested with your build?
It seems like you have some experience with that, huh?
Well, that's why I had to change the back end of my car, because I was like,
Yeah.
as the power increased, I remember clutch kicking it one day. I was like, I have no drive. And that happened maybe 2 or 3 times. And then it was like, right, we're going to have to.
Yeah,
we have to
I've
strengthen this.
witnessed a few. I think I've seen you break 1 or 2.
Hey, look now.
I broke them
about
also.
me.
Don't worry, I broke many of them. I remember the first time I ever drove a turbo drift car, I went into the first corner, and that was with GTR shafts, so I actually broke good shafts.
Fine.
And yeah, left the handbrake out, or left the clutch out with the handbrake still, and broke 2 of them at the same time. When I came in, and my curve was like, I've never seen anybody do that. Well, now you have, so I feel you.
Well, like it's a constant game of improving like the builds. But Connor already mentioned, like, the recipe that you need nowadays is like around 1,000 horsepower, sequential gearbox that can actually handle that power. Yeah, we run the Samsonas, and we're quite happy with that. A big and a strong prop shaft, a big differential. Normally the thing is a quick change differential, either from Winters or from Bulldog, and then the biggest shafts you can put in the car. And yeah, this is basically what you have, and then you just need to maintain it and check when there's play in the drive shafts, just change them before they break actually. And this is what makes it quite intensive to run a drift car on that power level, because it's not a question if something breaks, it's just when.
That's one of the nice things about playing in the game, because it's like, I clutch kicked it, and it doesn't matter, we'll just go straight back to the start. If something broke, it doesn't matter, but there's nothing more devastating as you come and you initiate and you think you've got it all absolutely bang on, and then just kaboom.
Yeah, reset button is nice. Would be nice in real life also. Yeah.
Okay, so Connor, you gave us a description of drifting. You said driving in control, fully out of control. You're trying to be inch perfect while the car is completely out of control, which I feel like really captures the chaos and the adrenaline of the sport. Do you have anything to add to this, or do you think that's still true to this moment?
Yeah, 100%. I think, the biggest thing right now about drifting is how hard it is to win. It's like, even like 2-3 years ago for me, it was kind of, you would turn up to an event and you would be confident that you're going to have a good result, or you're put in the work to have a good result. Now you turn up and it's like everybody has evolved so much and got like so much better. It's like trying to find what is the definition of confidence. What's the definition of too much? It's like you're playing with fire every single lap, and even now in practice you have to go to that level, because if you're not ready
Be kind, rewind.
to do it the minute the main competition starts, it's like, wow, I don't know what to do. So I think that quote kind of explains it pretty good, but I would probably improvise a little bit more of like actually how on the limit we are about to be out of control, but in control at the same time. So, I think it was a good explanation, but I think for me it's like, now as we watch live stream from 5 years ago to now, it's like, okay, we're pretty much close to being a little left in the tank,
Ellie, would you agree with that?
I would put it in really simple words. It makes more sense to play roulette than try to win a Drift Masters.
Yeah, I could play
like the possibilities are higher.
Poet, my friend.
For sure.
So we've talked about the discipline of sport, we've talked about the high moments, the low moments, but we're going to now focus back down on the cars themselves. So if I was to open up the bonnet, Ellie, what would I find?
probably one of the most complicated engines in drifting nowadays.
I agree.
So the exact opposite to the Connors approach. We tried to take a current engine, a modern engine, take the modern technology that actually helps us to produce over 1,000 horsepower very reliably. Sensors, this, that, and so on, and it's very complex to get it to run. But once it's running, for us at least, touch wood, it was really. Past 3.5, almost 4 years now.
Big turbo, 2 turbos, 1 turbo. What are we looking at here?
One single turbo. Because on our M4s it's a low mount, so you can't see it, but now in the F22 it's a top mount, so you can see a big turbo hanging there on the engine. And this, in my eyes, very beautiful modern engine.
Nice. Connor?
Yeah, I think that's what's exciting about when you pop the hood of a drift car. It's like 1,000 brake horsepower, so you have to have the tools to make 1,000 brake horsepower. In my opinion, as a fan of drifting, I would explain it: huge turbo, shiny parts everywhere. It's like going through like a car show and be like, damn, that engine is cool, but we're actually using those engines in a race car, which is quite sick. So yeah, for me it's quite a simple setup. We just try to keep everything, it's a winning platform for many years in drifting. I think 2JZ has been the engine what a lot of people have turned to, I guess. And yeah, so people about engines, but for me, I think it's a big turbo, shiny parts, makes lots of power, cool noises, and
you know where to find me, driver.
I think it's kind of just a simple package what works perfect.
So you've got the 2JZ and then also the BMW out there, but if you could describe your ultimate dream machine, it can be a car, it can be a bike, it can be a plane, what would it be? Tell me about, let's just really describe it to the people that are sat playing the game right now and listening. I want colours, I want sounds.
That's a good one. I would have two if you don't mind.
Fine.
So first one is obviously G87 M2, the current M2. With the S58 in, very lightweight, ready for competition to go on walls, take the war that is there. This is definitely the next thing also on our map. And the other one would be like a kind of a funny one. Very old Toyota Starlet, like hatchback, rear-wheel driven. I had the chance to be in Jamaica last year and judge a Red Bull Car Park drift event, and I saw like 4 or 5 of those, and those look so nice. And I somehow have a sweet spot for hatchbacks anyways, and either put a small 4-banger in with a turbo, or maybe even a very small natural aspirated V8. I think this would be a really fun car to drive. Yeah.
Connor, to you?
Yeah, mine are kind of, I have retro one for sure as well, which is I think an Irish classic, a Ford Mark II Escort, but I would build it to be the wildest drift car ever. Like anything I could do to it, I would do to it. Just body panels everywhere, kind of just crazy. Not as a competition car, but just more just something what's iconic and kind of, I guess, it has a little bit of history as well. You know, Ford Mark II Escort is a famous car in Irish rallying, and always wanted to do one as a drift car. And then I've also kind of have another one which is an interesting one, but a Porsche GT3 RS. I would love one. It's also my dream road car, but I would love one as just a kind of a car where it kind of like goes against people's opinions of like, it's such a beautiful car, and I would just be like, I would love to take that thing and just wreck it off a wall. You know, not wreck it off a wall, but you know what I mean. Have it as in you can just go out like and you know blow a taillight off it. And everybody's crying in the grandstand, being like, man, it's a Porsche GT3 RS. So
that would be me.
Yeah, also me as well on the other side. But I think for sure it's an interesting one. But I think if I was to take like a chassis and develop a chassis of like making just a cool drift car, those are two what are not competitive drift cars, because in my opinion competitive drift cars are, you know, I spend my whole life with them, so for me they're like a little bit like not boring. They're obviously not boring, they're super exciting to drive, but the fun ones are a little bit more exciting.
If you were to take me on a tour of your garage, have a look around personal garages, what would I find? Would it be like prize cars, bikes in there? Ellie, what have you got hiding in there?
Oh, in my garage there's actually not too much going on. I'm in the lucky situation that I can drive a M3 Touring at the moment.
Nice. G81 is very nice.
G81 is really nice. I really love this car because you can just go on road trips, can also be a lunatic if you just put it to rear wheel drive, and so it's amazing car. But actually I don't even own car. Like yes, we have the drift cars from our team, and you would find them, and you would find a lot of tools and engineering stuff. So I'm also really fascinated and passionate about all the engineering that goes in doing the simulations, looking at things, cooling, whatever, aero and stuff like that. So my garage doesn't look too fancy, too shiny. It would rather look engineering.
And Connor, I know you are a big fan of going up the mountains, so I'm pretty sure you probably got some off-road vehicles kicking around in that garage somewhere.
Yeah, bikes for sure. I love two wheels. Like, I kind of got into two wheels actually quite late in my life, of just like riding enduro and lockdown, and honestly it's like now I'm trying to fight the urge of being like, you can't ride the bike in season, you know, it's like the scare of getting hurt. But yeah, for sure I share all the workshop space with my brother Jack, who's a busy guy. He lives in the garage 24/7, so I'm a little bit opposite. I'm more of a guy who just likes kind of doing fun things. For me, working on a drift car is, I kind of draw the line a little bit with that. So you know, lots of cool cars sitting around our home, and kind of actually cars with interesting stories. You know, we grew up racing, so we all have different areas of motorsport, you know, dirt oval cars, short oval cars. It's kind of like, I guess, a little bit of history of like of our whole career is sitting around. Just my old 180 shell is sitting there, so every time you see it, it kind of tells a story. So yeah, just a little bit of everything, but for sure bikes is something what I enjoy doing, and it's a good tool. I think it's a huge tool actually to help performance in a drift car.
Do you still have that crazy bike engined buggy thing?
Yeah, the autocross cars, we still have them. Yeah, my dad actually just built a brand new one. Quite crazy, like two high boost engines in the back of a mini space frame car, so it's quite exciting. But yeah, lots of things, interesting things.
Saw the wickedest slam ever was Connor driving that thing, and he just did the craziest roll in it. I was like, right, not gonna drive that.
This time 2 years ago, right before actually a Drift Masters final, so it's not a great time, but
all right. Give us 3 top tips whilst people are playing this game that they can absorb and use in real life.
So for myself, it really was like the training that I'd done. Endurance training helped me to stay focused over the entire day of the competition, because our competition days are super long. You're only in the car for, or drifting the car for 30 to 45 seconds, like maybe 10, 12 times a day. But you have to be like 100% each and every time. And endurance training, like just jogging, cycling, stuff like that, helped me to stay on the same level for the entire day. Before that, I really felt like yeah, when the day went on in the afternoon, I had like some drops, and this basically helped me big time.
I think advice, probably what I got over the years, is like something what I would just tell myself during the day is like, be patient. You know, I think is stay in the zone, stay focused. You know, enjoy. I think the process is another one. You know, like don't stress out if something isn't going in your way, and just try stay away from the environment. What is probably, you know, if your car is getting worked on, just leave the chat. You know, go to the starting line and rate with your helmet and forget about all those little things. So there's many ways to stay focused, but for sure, you know, the preparation for an event and simulator and building all that stuff is something what helps you to get focused. But in the moment is many things. I could talk forever about that.
Well, there's definitely more than 3 top tips there. Patience, take yourself out of it, and just remember all of the good advice that you've been given over the years. I think that's some super solid advice there. And training. Actually, that was the other one from you, Ellie, as well. Well, guys, as you know, Motorfest, the podcast, is available to try different motorsport disciplines in the season 6 of The Crew.
And I just like, because in drifting it's not like we have a 50-person team here.
I'll be right here.
And I'm just the driver and nothing else. Like, yeah, I do the engineering, I do mechanics, I sometimes drive the truck and so on. And I just enjoy seeing that the whole system or the whole team works as a whole, the whole car works. And it's just my happy place, I would say.
Connor?
I guess my answer is probably quite similar, because drifting is something what I love more than anything, the whole sport, the whole environment. But yeah, I probably would have tried to dabble in the whole circuit racing world, you know, racing karts and go down that adventure. But to be honest, I'm kind of glad that I didn't, you know, go down that route of trying to chase that dream and put it into to use something of what is motorsport. But I guess it would be a hard decision to stay drifting or try something else. But I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Field here would be tennis for me.
Tennis?
Straight up
really?
Tennis. Like, female tennis players are badass. Like, imagine, and the money that you can earn at the top level, that'll be me. All right, guys, sounds like the engines are just being warmed up there outside. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. It's been a delight. I've learned so much, actually. I've known you for years, and now I feel like I know a lot more about you. So thank you so much, Ellie and Connor.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Right, that's it today, guys, for our episode of Motorfest, the podcast. Make sure you check it out on all platforms. You can also see it on YouTube. And if you're playing the game, you can also listen to it live right there. My name's Becky Evans, and it's been an absolute pleasure. And make sure you check out The Crew, Motorfest from Ubisoft. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Visualize your next objective and let's go.
There's been time where I was working 12 to 14-hour days, 7 days a week, working 2 or 3 different jobs sometimes, just to pay for another hour of flying and another flying lesson. And it's been worth it.
Welcome back to Motorfest, the podcast. My name is Becky Evans, and this is a podcast brought to you by Red Bull and Ubisoft's iconic game, The Crew Motorfest. Now, in this podcast, this is where I get to talk to motorsport athletes about their passions, all things speed, wings, and wheels. And you know what the really cool thing is? You can actually listen to this podcast whilst you're playing the game. So grab one of your dream vehicles, jump in, strap in, because you're about to hear from the athletes that actually get to drive these in the real world. Let's get the show started. Now today we've got a very, very special guest. We're going to be chatting with Luke Chapella. Luke is a multi-award-winning Red Bull Air Race winner, known for his precision, skill and fearless flying. From winning the Challenger Cup to landing a plane on a helipad in Dubai, Luke is committed.
Morgan, you must have felt it since your arrival. This island is something. But before exploring Hawaii, let's celebrate it with a quick tour on the Motorfest grounds.
Boundaries of flying. Luke, we're delighted to have you here today.
On this brand new Motorfest circuit. A bit intense, isn't it? But no pressure. The key word here is exploration. You don't have to win to move on to the next race. Enjoy the ride. Victory's just a bonus here. And while we're here, let's start with a guided tour of the Motorfest grounds. Everywhere on this track, you will feel the Hawaiian connection to elements. Look at these sharks. They mark the entrance to the water area. You can see the sand playground on the left for you to practice your off-road skills whenever you want. Warm and vibrant like Earth, here comes the concert zone. This area is all about getting together and enjoying some great music. You know this volcano? It's the car meet. Social hub, custom shows, main stage stuffs. You already got the drill, right? Birds up there are a tribute to the last element, air. This is also where you'll find the drift track, first arena of the Drift Experience playlist. To an end, but I still think this was a little intense for this playlist. why don't we start the real Hawaii Scenic Tour with a more relaxed journey around this amazing island? You'll get a real guide this time, I promise.
Back to the interview.
Let's meet Kyoto. Hawaiian born and raised, he knows these lands like the back of his hand. He loves sharing the culture, history and beauty of Hawaii.
Phyllis Fluff.
First journey to the east, between seafronts, mind-blowing mountains and wild waterfalls.
Phyllis flying. Phyllis flying. Phyllis flying. From winning the Challenger Cup to landing a plane on a helipad in Dubai, Luke is committed to pushing the boundaries of flying. Luke, we're delighted to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I'm just going to jump straight into it. I am terrified of flying, so when I knew I was going to be chatting to you, I was thinking this guy is going to have to tell me everything that gets him up in the morning and says, you know what, I'm going to do a loop in a plane.
You know, flying aerobatics gives you such a freedom, you know. It's not every day that you can fly aircraft upside down, or you can fly it in reverse, like at 60 kilometers per hour. All the G-forces that we experience, it's something that you cannot experience on the ground. That's why I'm so happy to share it with other people, give them the taste of the freedom that we get, and yeah, spread the joy of flying.
Now, I come from a drifting background, and I was around cars from a very, very young age, and it was actually my dad who sort of ignited that in me, because I remember seeing him playing with his race car in the garage. It was the same kind of for you, wasn't it? You went to an air show when you were a very small boy, and then that was it. You were hooked.
Yeah, absolutely. My spark ignited when I was 6 years old. My dad took me to the air show in Poland, and it's just been amazing. You know, I was watching a aerobatic display, and the aircraft was doing a tail slide. It's a figure where you go vertically up, and it seems like you're shutting down the engine, and the aircraft starts to slide back on its tail. And I saw it as a 6-year-old kid, and I was like, Dad, I'm gonna do it in the future. And you know, many 6-year-old kids have different dreams every week. Sometimes you want to be a policeman, the week after you want to be a fireman. But for me, it has never changed. I've been flying now for 26 years, and I still love it.
That's absolutely crazy that you just picked your direction and just stuck with it. I mean, your first flight lesson, you were 14 years old, and then by 16, you'd got your license. So there was definitely method in your madness. This was all moving towards where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was so motivated. Like from this air show, I started playing with aircraft models, free-flying models, and then I just went to the airport and I became what's known as a hangar rat. You know, cleaning the airplanes for everyone. And in exchange, they would take me for a flight and usually let me fly the aircraft, give me the first lessons. By the time I went solo at 16, I was over the moon. It's been a lot of hard work, but so rewarding as well.
Luke, we were just saying to you just then, flying was always going to be what you were going to do. And I'm going to give you a question, which I almost feel like I know what the answer is already. If you could be a car, a plane, a boat, or a motorbike, which would you be and why?
Yeah, of course I'd go for a plane, but you know, this is what my life is all about. It's always been about flying. I have 13,500 hours in the year. That's like 4 years of my life. 10% of my life has been spent in the air. So yeah, I just want to be a better pilot with every flight I take.
I'd love to know more about the bullseye stunt. I mean, we saw and heard it at the beginning of the episode. Personally, for me, I remember seeing that, and I watched the video and I had a heart attack and was like, oh my God, obviously I know that this guy made this happen because everyone's celebrating it, but I couldn't cope with it.
I almost got a heart attack on the first one as well. It was incredibly difficult project that we did. Landing a plane in such a short distance, It's not something very unusual for this kind of aircraft, but landing the plane on a small helipad that is 600 feet in the air, 200 meters above sea level, that hasn't been done before, and it comes with a lot of difficulties. One of those difficulties is the shape of the building created very special wind vortices, like a little tornadoes coming off the building, hitting the helipad, and these tornadoes wanted to suck in my aircraft and throw it towards the building, and that's what happened on the first two attempts when the winds were quite strong. So usually if you try to land short, you want a lot of wind because the wind will assist you, but not on a helipad. On a helipad, the less wind we had was easier to fly with the plane. So all in all, it took me like 650 practice landings before I went for the actual landing on the helipad, and the first two attempts on the helipad on a windy day, they were not very successful, and then we had to reset and try again the
Visualize your next
day after, so that was quite challenging.
I feel like the stakes are quite high, especially when you're doing something like that as well. Not only are you on like the Red Bull World stage creating a moment in history, there's the practical
new playlist ahead. Let's go.
element of it as well, and trying to land this thing on a really tall building.
Yeah, so for me, being the best pilot I can be, it's the most rewarding. I'm not doing any of this for fame
I bet the next experience we have in store will knock your socks off.
or money or whatever. I'm just doing it to show that I'm good, and I always want to be the best I can be, and I think we proved with this project that was one of the toughest things I ever did with the plane, and now we can see how successful the project was. We have like way over 1 billion views on the videos all over the platforms. So.
That's brilliant. I mean, it's unbelievable. Now, for you guys that are listening at home, air sport, the sky is literally the limit with this. Aerobatics is a bit like acrobatics, except you're flying an aircraft. There's a lot of other things to consider, though, when you are flying. There's obviously safety, speed, weather. Luke, can you give us a rundown of like the 3 main things that you have to be watching out for when you attempt to do some aerobatics in the sky?
Yeah, I think first will be the weather. All our aircraft don't have very sophisticated instruments, so we have to fly what's known as VFR condition, visual flying rules. We always have to see the ground. We have to stay outside of the clouds, and the winds play a big factor. Then, of course, is the technical standard of the aircraft. We always try to make sure that the aircraft is airworthy. Having an engine failure approaching a helipad so close to the building or flying upside down 2 meters above the runway, it's an extreme sport. So second, for sure, would be the technical side, and I think the third, but as equal as the other two, would be, of course, pilot fitness, and we want to make sure I'm rested, I'm in a good physical condition. The G-forces is something that we fight with a lot. We fly from -8 Gs to +10. What it means, I can get up to 10 times heavier, like weighing 80 kilos. I have 800 kilos of force hitting my body. The blood is 10 times heavier, and it drains away from the brain, goes towards my legs, and you can faint and you can lose your consciousness, and that can be, of course, very dangerous when you're close to the ground flying at 400 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, that does sound pretty crazy. I've seen some of the videos, when they put passengers in the plane. That's why I'm frightened, Luke, when you said if I can go in the plane. I'd be like, I'd pass out. I'd be rubbish. You'd be looking back, and I'd just be asleep in the back seat. Terrible. Luke, help us understand a little bit more about the specifics of your job. I mean, because what people need to know is obviously you compete in Red Bull Air Race as well, and that is a competition. So what are the skills and the awareness that you need to be able to do this?
Yeah, Red Bull Air Race was one of the best flying I ever had a chance to do. And, you fly aircraft at 400 kilometers per hour between gates, which are only 15 meters apart. The entire track has like 6 kilometers length, and we fly it in under a minute sometimes. Incredible speeds. The aircraft can roll 420 degrees per second, but 0.8 seconds to make a full roll. You need to be incredibly precise and really good pilot in order to plan, not to stay behind the plane. Really good hand-to-eye coordination, I think, is a key factor, and as well as physical fitness, because, we are so close to the ground, pulling high G forces. If you lose your concentration for a couple of seconds, this can be really bad for you.
Can you tell us, how you came from, it's quite a small place in Poland that you grew up in, to how you managed to take those steps to becoming the amazing pilot that you are today?
I think it's all about the motivation. If you have a big goal set somewhere on the horizon, then you'll find a way to find the next step and next step. And it's all about those small steps that when you achieve them, they will keep you going. And, I didn't have a very rich parents to support me. To start gliding, I was doing building jobs, renovating the hangar, helping out around the aircraft when I was 19. I had to make some decisions about going to uni or maybe to the Air Force. The Air Force didn't recruit. I didn't have money for the uni. But I was so motivated, I applied for an au-pair program, and I became a babysitter at 19. I moved to UK, and when the kids were at school, I would just run to the airport and, help with the aircraft maintenance there. That's how I got my private pilot license for powered aircraft, and I just kept going at it, and it was really, really good, giving me the motivation to go step by step.
What I was thinking to myself when I was listening to your story there, not everybody feels as comfortable as you would be flying a plane. I mean, much less racing or backflipping in one. What are your top 5 tips for anyone who wants to successfully fly a plane?
You need to love it. When I started flying, you can just imagine my disappointment. It's been my dream for many, many years, and I started flying. What I realized is that I'm getting motion sickness, and I was sick every single flight. But human body is so amazing, and it adapts. That after a couple of months, I didn't have a problem with that. And there's been so many obstacles in my life that tried to stop me from flying. But if you love it, you'll do anything to be good at it. And I'm thinking I'm a perfect example of someone going from zero to hero just because of my incredible motivation and the drive to do things. Not a lot of financial support or anything from anyone else.
It's hard to explain to somebody who, when you want to do something so bad. I mean, I can only talk about drifting from my side, and it's you're like, I don't have the money to do this, but I know I'm going to make it happen, and I've got no choice really. I've got to put myself on the track, or in your case, put yourself in the air, and that's kind of it. And you sort of just make it happen. You just have to push, and everything when you wake up every single day, if you have that one thought in mind, you're able to make it happen, I think.
Absolutely, and it will drive you to find ways to do it, buy another set of tires or buy another hour of flying. There's been time where I was working 12 to 14-hour days, 7 days a week, working 2 or 3 different jobs sometimes, just to pay for another hour of flying and another flying lesson.
These guys are the real deal. Their philosophy that cars are for everyone, combined with their electric energy, makes their content stand out like, I quote, a buff horse in a pasture of ponies.
Yeah, it's been worth it.
Well, let's talk about the Carbon Cub UL. I mean, we've just obviously heard the noise of it. This is the plane that you use for the Bullseye stunt, as well as the Edge 540, which is a single-seater, and 2-seater planes that you use for competition and day-to-day life. I'm feeling nosy. If I was to take a look inside these vehicles, what would be some exciting features that I would find?
I think for someone who's into car racing, drifting, or rallies, I think the power-to-weight ratio is quite impressive. The aircraft that we landed on the helipad, it weighs 900 pounds, so for those of you in Europe, 400 kilos, and it has 230 horsepower. It's got the nitrous in it, like some of the racing cars, and with a flick of a switch, I can get my engine, get a 50 horsepower extra to go around. the aerobatic aircraft. I have a 10-liter engine which develops 350 horsepower in the aircraft that weighs just over 600 kilos. You know, so hard to weight racer. It's close to Bugatti Veyron, I would say, and that's what allows me to fly the aircraft vertically up and achieve 400 kilometers per hour.
This is Rule the Streets. Rolling! Next in line.
All right, let's keep talking.
Big racer, it's close to Bugatti Veyron, I would say, and that's what.
We're not staying in Honolulu just yet. We'll be joining the donut team at the bottom of the mountain.
Allows me to fly the aircraft vertically up and achieve 400 kilometers per hour in the race aircraft, or. Thanks to a massive big wing, I can fly as slowly as 50 kilometers per hour in the carbon caps. Yeah, out of those two, it's really hard to say which one is my favorite, but yeah, those two are extremely different and opposite to each other. One was made to go fast, the other one was like a rock crawler, slow going. But I love them both. It's like choosing your favorite child.
How are you sort of refining and modifying these planes to keep up with the demands of the sport? I mean, I know we're always putting, you know, different superchargers or turbochargers on our cars to make it faster. Like our sport is constantly evolving, so there's always modifications that you need to do in order to keep them up to spec. Is it the same for planes?
We love to modify them. It's not so easy to modify the aircraft because there's a lot more regulations that you have to comply with. The carbon cap that I use for Dubai, this one
I don't want to spoil the surprise, so I'll just give you one clue.
Right. Yep.
The first question involves Italy at its finest.
Modified from the original. Like we remove the fuel tanks, which are usually situated in the wings.
Ferrari and Lamborghini have been rivals since they were babies. It's true, but don't look it up. Before we set up camp downtown, you'll be racing through the countryside in the Italian
The Lamborghini machine. Let's ride.
James here. I'm talking to you from this drone. Well, I'm not actually in the drone. That would defeat the entire purpose of a drone. That would be a helicopter. It will follow you the whole time and take some awesome shots for our videos. Not in a weird way. Anyway, have fun. Automobili Lamborghini versus Ferrari. Man, I am so pumped. Hey, no pressure, but these cars are like really expensive, so try not to crash and burn, okay? What a viewpoint. It really makes you think. I should have mentioned there's gonna be turns. Sorry. How are we feeling about our choice down there? Not having second thoughts, are we? Full Italian power! Give me the gravy, Grandma! Lamborghini takes it all! The Lamborghini machine rules the mountains.
The podcast is back on. Our guest still has plenty of things to say.
Heavily modified from the original. Like we remove the fuel tanks, which are usually situated in the wings. We put them in the back of the plane to have the center of gravity as low and as far back. That would give me better braking. We designed a carbon fiber belly cover that would protect the aircraft in case I struck the edge of the helipad with my tail. It was like a big bumper, and of course we had nitrous in it. So, I felt like Fast and Furious.
That's proper, having nitrous in a plane. I'd never even heard that. Do you have to keep the gas bottle up there as well? Like, that's quite heavy.
Yeah, but the bottle was also in the bag. That was further enhancement to the center of gravity. So.
Well, speaking of nitrous and cars and everything involved in that, you once raced your plane against Ben Collins in an F1 car. Can you tell us how this came about and who won the race? Was it the plane or the car?
Yeah, so we raced the BMW Sauber against my Edge 540 at one of the air shows in Poland. Stig was the driver, and I have to say I'm very proud that I really kicked his ass.
Perfect. Love it.
After 2 laps, I had to go at idle to try to make it look like we finished close. But yeah, I won it, and I won it with a big margin.
Are there any other memorable stunts that we should know about? And how do these help you become a better competitor? I mean, we've all seen the bullseye stunt. That was...
Now that you've met the donut team, you probably have a better idea of what you're getting into. But trust me, you're still in for a few surprises.
Unbelievable. But is there any other ones that sort of stick out in your mind as that was a good day at work?
Yeah, for sure. I think my first big project with Red Bull was flying under the bridges in Warsaw. Me and the Czech pilot Martin Sanka, we flew under 3 bridges in Poland trying to paint a Polish flag on the Polish National Flag Day. And then I landed on the historic wooden pier in Sopot in one of the Polish famous cities. And that was the project that gave me idea for the bullseye landing later. I also had some fun flying with some of our skydivers, like Game of War with my Putinska, where...
From now on, the city's going to be your playground. And your first urban challenge will be a rough and tumble American street brawl. I can't tell you much more right now. We agreed that James would be the one to give you all the details.
I was chasing a skydiver with my plane, flying around her.
Casual.
Yeah. Another day at work, you know.
It's another day in the office.
And I have to say it's the best office view you can get, even when I fly the big commercial plane.
We're going to talk about...
Yeah! All right, tough boys and girls.
The Camaro ZL1. Go get that dinner.
In the muscle car's natural habitat, the concrete jungle. How's it feel? Woo-wee! Camaro's eating good tonight. Nom 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 nom. Woo-wee! Camaro's eating good tonight. Nom 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 nom.
Rewind.
Time to flex that car's muscle. I'm flexing right now, you just can't see it. Beepity boop 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 boop. Sorry, that's just the drone talking. He's very excited, don't mind him. I used to live in that building. Who's got the buffest American muscles? Let's find out. Watch out for that curve. Wow, that's a GT500, huh? Drives more like the GT Stinker. Stretch, dude, hammer down. Chevy wins. Did you know that Camaro means animal that eats Mustangs?
podcast continues. We're going to talk about dream vehicles right now. Everybody's got a dream vehicle. Today is your lucky day, Luke. You've been given a ticket to test flight any type of aircraft that your heart desires. Which model would you choose and where would you take it?
I would go for a classic. Like for a lot of car lovers, they would go for a 1960s Mustang or a Bullitt Charger. I would go for a Mustang as well. It's a P-51 Mustang. It's an American-built fighter from the Second World War, and the aircraft is absolutely incredible. It's fast. It looks very good. For those of you who watched the latest Top Gun movie with Tom Cruise, that's the plane, the silver plane that he was in his hangar, and I know he's got one, and I hope that's a plane that I will fly one day.
I feel like an old Mustang like that would sound absolutely unbelievable. Like when I think of like vintage cars, what I love about it is the smell, is the sound, you know, these sort of big displacement engines with straight through exhaust. Are we talking the same language here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a V12 engine.
Wow.
I don't know the capacity from my head, but that must be like 20-something liters capacity there. You're operating at 1,000 horsepower plus, and straight out exhaust. When it starts up, you can see the flame.
The Donut Crew has all kinds of shows on their channel. In one of them, they pit cheap parts against the high-end versions. It's called Hilo, and that's exactly what you're going to get a taste of now.
Out of the exhaust manifold, and the sound is absolutely incredible.
Aside from planes, what are some of the other memorable vehicles that you've tried or seen or even thought, you know what, I really want one of those?
Oh God, there's so many.
So, I know, that's such a hard question. It's just like, I don't know, Becky, like there's like 50 that I've seen over the years.
I love I'm a very competitive person, so whatever you put me in, I'll do my best to win it. Like go-karts, don't get me even started in go-karts, because I'll be right there running into everyone just to win the race. And I think I'd love to be a race car driver, like you know, to compete in racing cars. And Formula One would be fun to drive. I would love to drive one of those, and yeah, I'd go for Formula One.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Not the fact that we're actually really similar in the sense that car people and aeroplane people still like the old stuff, like the new all carbon, super slick, like that's great. But where our heart really lies is in the old school, in the big V12, V16s, V10, like that's me. V8s, V10s, all of the old school stuff. So I'm delighted that there is that crossover between different sports, but the same feeling, right?
Absolutely, you know, the sound of the old V8s, V12s makes you so sentimental. I don't know, it makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up when I hear one of those.
You know, sometimes they would do like an air show where I think it was the old...
And during this workshop, you'll be driving the oh-so-lovely Nissan 370Z Nismo.
What's called bombers that would come, like the Spitfires, would come down over the drag racing track when I was a kid. So I grew up around drag racing, and the planes would come over the track. I actually got emotional. I'm not quite sure why. When you see big planes like that, when they're flying, like the noise and the feeling in your chest, it makes you emotional. I'm not entirely sure why, and that's from somebody who's like a casual consumer of airplanes.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I think that's why they still fly.
Nothing is more iconic than low car.
Hot shot. Let's see what you can do with that setup coming straight from the sail rack. Give it the beans! ramps. One shot, do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Yo! Fully upgraded. Let's rip. Okay, we've done the whole part switching thingy, brakes, tires, suspension, exhaust. Only the best for my baby. Here comes the straight line. Time to put that Nismo high car to the test. Punch it! I know you're focused on driving right now, but I just want to call out that I'm doing a really good job flying this drone. It's my first day. Nailing it. Expensive mean more better?
Back to the interview.
So the feeling, the feeling in your chest.
I think if I was invincible and I could be young forever, I'd probably still be trying to jump further distance records with the bike the way it is. But for me, there's one goal left for me, and that's all I'm working on. So I'm not here to replicate nothing, to do shows around the world. I think those days for me are gone. I just want to do my masterpiece, right? That's all I'm working on, is my masterpiece, and then I'm done.
My name's Becky Evans, and welcome to Motorfest, the podcast, brought to you by Red Bull and the iconic game from Ubisoft, The Crew Motorfest. Now, this is the podcast where I get to chat with some of the world's finest motorsport athletes, and I get to delve into their passions of all things speed, wings, and wheels. And you know what the cool thing is? You can actually listen to this podcast whilst you're playing the game. So jump into your dream vehicle, sit back and relax, and get ready for the show. Let's go.
As you know, we're sticking to urban terrain for the next event, but we're kicking the intensity up a notch. Motorfest has provided Donut Media with two incredible cars, and knowing James, you can be sure they'll be put to good use. I should really keep the details to myself, but I can't help teasing you a little. So, just picture this. Downtown hypercar battle.
Now that is the sound of the KTM 450 motorbike that you can actually play in the game. Now this bike has got you covered on road, dirt, sand, and even on water, thanks to the very special Motorsurf edition.
More power, baby! Motorfest gave us 2 hypercars with more power.
Whoa! Someone woke up in a new Bugatti.
Partnering with Motorfest comes with some pretty sweet perks. Check out these 2 spaceships they lent us.
It's like it never happened.
This car is too fast. You are a psychopath. I love you. Like cars? Like it all? After the docks, how about a little tour of the countryside? Nice neighborhood. Pretty sure you're ruining the property values, though.
No shame in trying again.
Are destroying the previous downtown speed record, but which car's gonna set the new record? The suspense is killing me. I gotta sit down. Kilometers per hour in the city? I don't know, that's gotta be at least 100 miles an hour. Finish line is right there! Oh, power, baby! it won, but trust me when I say that your Bugatti also made quite an impression today.
Let's get back to Motorfest, the podcast. Sound of the KTM 450 motorbike that you can actually play in the game. Now, this bike has got you covered on road, dirt, sand, and even on water, thanks to the very special Motor Surf edition, which has been designed by the athlete that I am joined by today, Robbie Madison. Robbie, thank you so much for having me here at your home.
No worries, Becky. It's an absolute pleasure, and I'm super excited to have my bike in the game, the crew Motorfest.
No, delighted. I mean, you are a freestyle motocross champion, legend, like absolute pioneer of the sport. And to actually see this place after seeing so many videos of it, it was kind of crazy when we were driving in.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very blessed. It's been an amazing career, and I've been able to do
Our new destination, Diamond Head. Let's set forward.
incredible things. Red Bull has literally given me wings, and
No time for surfing, time for drifting.
it's been amazing to say the least of it. And this house that came home, and it's the dream that I envisioned. And now I get to ride dirt bikes here. I get to share with my kids.
I'm only allowed to give you one hint. You're driving one of James's all-time favourites.
And this is home base for all these crazy ideas. And then we come back here and refocus, reset, and set off on our ways to take on more adventures.
Now, you started off, in New South Wales in Australia. You were an electrician to begin with, and then you found freestyle motocross. You've done backflips over Tower Bridge in London. You've jumped over, it's the Arctic.
Now's your chance to get sideways, muchacho. You'll be drifting this Mitsubishi Lancer Evo X up and down.
Game on! Go drift, my friend. Go drift to your heart's content. This place is amazing. It's like a playground for drifters. That's what they say about Los Angeles these days. Lancer Evo. My friend said it was the fastest car that he's ever driven. What's up, Dan? I bet you never thought you'd be in a video game. Can you drift as long as the Kentucky Cobra? I gotta know! This is gonna make a dope video. You should subscribe to Donut Media. I'm serious. Go do it. And now, you're a certified drifter.
Continues. The Tower Bridge in London, you've jumped over the Arc de Triomphe in Las Vegas. I mean, just so many incredible jumps. I remember seeing the video of you doing the ski jump as well. You're a record breaker and a dream chaser. Do you think I've missed anything out there? I mean, there's so many stunts that you've done in your career, but those are the ones that even as a fan myself.
Going fast brings incredible sensations for sure, but no need to reach extreme speeds to get a proper challenge.
Yeah, really jump out.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, there's been a lot, but one of the coolest things for me is inventing the motorcycle to ride on the water. Just because I grew up at the beach in Australia, I grew up surfing. If I hadn't been a motorcycle rider, I would have been a surfer. And to be able to combine the two of my two favorite things to do is a dream come true. So it just,
Meaning? Well, you'll have to go to Honolulu Airport and get on the tarmac to figure it out.
One day, just
Team is waiting for you there with a whole different type of car this time. A high-performance pickup truck by Ford, the F-150 Raptor.
kind of hit me that I could make it right on the water with addition of like some wakeboards under the wheels, and I've seen a lot of people copy it, and it's something that works, and you know, to be able to take it on a wave was just insane. But I'm excited that you get to do it in the game now. You know, the users are going to be able to ride their bikes in Maui and catch waves and feel some of the excitement I felt. So I'm really stoked with Motorfest and the crew. It's awesome that it's gone this way.
So, Robbie, if you could be a car, a plane, a boat, or a motorbike, which would you be and why?
I would definitely be a plane. I just love flying. It's all I've wanted to do, and I think that's why.
You're closing in. Gather all your focus and dexterity. You're gonna need it.
Motorbikes became so cool to me because it was catching these little moments of being able to fly. And as I've got older, I've jumped further and further and further. And now that I'm a pilot and I'm able to fly, it's just the coolest thing ever. And yeah, if I had the choice, I'd be a plane. Because you can go wherever you want to go.
I saw a quote where you were talking about how your mind is like Tetris, and you're just trying to put it all together and figure out how to create new crazy stunts. Like, how does one thing become from dream to reality?
I think ultimately it's just figuring out the path of how to get there. You know, for the most part, when I designed the bike to go on the water, the dream was to always ride it on the water. And, you know, I had the dream for a long time, and just one day it clicked, and I think it's been like that with a few things, you know, when I jumped on the building in Las Vegas, I knew I didn't want to just keep doing distance jumps, and I knew I wanted to do something that was a cool spectacle, and it wasn't about just having a jump and putting things in between it, you know, like Fonzie did with the shark tanks and like Evil did with the buses. That was cool, but it had already been done. I wanted to do something different.
So we know you're a capable driver. What if you don't have any brakes? You'll be driving...
Riddle me this, coneheads. How do you win when everyone's going the same speed? That's right, your cruise control is locked and you've got to weave through a whole bunch of cones. But don't even think about touching them. This is simple. Each cone that you touch gets you a penalty. Make a perfect lap and you get a big old bonus. Imagine each cone is the cutest, buffest horse you've ever seen. You wouldn't run over a horse, would you? Nay, sir. Nay. Well, I guess that's one lap. Good job. I don't know if your robot assistant told you, but I may have forgotten to install the brakes. I've got your mom on speed dial, so you better keep your driving clean and tidy. Drive with no brakes? Well, I'm starting to get an idea. Well, I'm sorry, is this truck too big for you? You want a widow baby car to make it easier? Too bad! Clever girl. Get it? Get it like in the movie?
Pinks and like Evil did with the buses. That was cool, but it had already been done. I wanted to do something different, and that's really all I did. I just set my intention. I kind of put out of the universe that I wanted to find something different, and I just stopped thinking about it. I stopped worrying about it. I just had the thought that if it's meant to be, it'll come to me, and if it's not, then it's not meant for me. And once I just kind of let go in that way and stopped putting pressure on myself to come up with something, and just went about being engaged in the moment of my life, then all of a sudden it just hit me again. I was driving past the hotel. I was on the freeway and I just saw the hotel passing by, and I just realized with the speed I had and the right ramp, that I could jump on top of that hotel. And then I had the idea, I'm like, with the right ramp, at the right speed, I could jump onto a big building and I could jump off of it. And so that's how it went. I think a lot of the ideas for me, just come through letting go of the stress of trying to figure it out and just going about living my life and enjoying what I love. And then all of a sudden these new ideas come, and that's led me to my current thing that I'm working on. I have a new idea, and it's just come from me doing what I love. And I've been flying airplanes, I've been wingsuiting, I've been skydiving, and it's inspired me to go in a different direction again. So it's exciting.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, your next frontier, we're talking aerospace. You want to see your bike take to the skies. Walk me through what that looks like.
Well, it's a little early yet. I mean, that is the goal. I mean, I've been in the skies with my bike since I've been a little kid, and just to try and go further and farther is the goal. And ultimately, the last time I did a world record jump, I landed so hard that my front wheel exploded.
I can't wait to see how the Donut Crews use all the incredible sequences they shot with you.
And I've ruptured my back, from jumping so far. I ruptured 2 discs in my back, so I know that it needs to be aerodynamic, and I've learned that a long time ago. Just finding the right team and finding, like you said before, it's like a Tetris, right? So it's not just about me and the team, it's about all the other elements. So I'm working on that. I'm not exactly sure what it looks like, but I am very hard at work, and I'm hoping to be able to unearth it here shortly. So there'll be more on that to come when things get a little bit more planned. But for now, it's
They're almost ready to wrap up. But before, they have one more challenge for you. One last face-off. A little pure, unadulterated street racing, featuring 2 cars that embody the world-renowned German savoir-faire. Well, it looks like I've said too much again. Just pretend you didn't hear anything, okay?
In the planes, flying. I just got the new wingsuit, the Freak. So it's the biggest wingsuit that they have, and I haven't flown it yet, so I'm excited to get out in that thing. And you're literally like a bird. It's from when you skydive. You can kind of, it's different shapes, kind of control how you fall in the sky. And in a wingsuit, obviously you're in the suit, so if one arm is extended out further on a different angle than the other arm, you'll start to turn a certain way. So you really have to be flying this shape of like an aircraft, like a bird. And it's so insane, because when I was a kid and I ever had like spare change and I'd throw it into the pond or into a fountain, I'd always make a wish. You can make a wish in the wishing well, so I'd always wish I could fly, and it's come true. It's really has. I honestly feel like when I jump out of a hot air balloon in a wingsuit, I'm like literally flying, and it's the coolest thing. You have to face your fears to live your dreams.
You can't say enough good things.
Bayerische Motorenwerke. I hope this M4 is easier to drive than say.
Is the last event, so make it count. Don't worry, we'll still be friends after. bit of a doozy. Wow, your car looks way better with their paint. Try taking more of it next time.
No shame in trying again. Let's call this a do-over.
Wow, that Audi got ditched faster than I did on prom night. Some things you never forget. Definitely pack a punch. Hawaiian punch. Is that even from Hawaii? Driving to get us the final answer. There can only be one. First place, as a wowing German would say, wow. The finish line is coming. The finish line is coming. Don't mess up. Looks like the streets belong to Audi today. Next time, top off your blinker fluid.
All right, let's keep talking.
Your dreams and one of the biggest fears I had was heights and you know, just the integrity of the parachute. And when I didn't mind free falling, but when I pulled the parachute and I had these strings coming off me holding this canopy up, I just didn't have faith in that. But after I did my accelerated free fall course and I learned how to pack a parachute, I kind of understood the technology of it and I got faith in it. And so now I kind of got over a fear. And to me, that's one of the most liberating things in my life is, like, you know, people say they have fears. I think one of the coolest things to do is to face your fears and get past them, understand them and address them and work through it. Because that's, if you just say, I have a fear and I'll never go there, then you're just limiting yourself. So if you're humble and bold enough and courageous enough to address it and be honest with yourself and go through the uncomfortable part of like dealing with it and getting past it, then you open up a whole new meaning of life and new experiences.
I mean, absolutely, just even looking at your track record of things. I mean, when you are planning a new stunt, I feel like you look at it in a way that it's not just the actual outcome of being able to achieve it. You're looking at the physics and the geometry of it and how you actually... in a physical way.
Make sure to get your vehicle reward, driver.
Yeah, I think...
This truly was a thrilling ride. But none of this could have been that incredible without your outstanding contribution. That's why a very special car is waiting for you at the container.
For everything I've done, like a lot of people say, who designs these things for you, who does it? And it's like, it's me, so I have that, and it's not like all me, but it's like me as far as like I'm driving the bus, and I have someone else navigate.
We got the whole donut team to pick it out just for you. Want to know what it is? All right then, it's a stunning Chevrolet Corvette C8 with a twist. Time for you to collect.
Navigating is usually smarter and more experienced than others, but it's my call on where we go and which turns we make and what it looks like and what the ultimate the decision, the final decisions is usually.
Back to our podcast.
The ultimate, the decision, the final decisions is usually in my hands.
I'll leave no playlist unfinished, driver.
All of the stunts that you've done, I mean, we've got the backflip over Tower Bridge in Las Vegas. We had the Arc de Triomphe, even the long ski jump. Is there any of them that you particularly think, yeah, that's the one where I really thought, I've done an amazing job here?
I think the jump on and off the Arc de Triomphe in Las Vegas was so like rattling for me as a human, and what it ultimately came to was that this is what I dreamed about doing my entire life, and if I didn't have the courage to follow through with this, then I'm just never going to know what my life could have been, and so I'd always dreamt of this opportunity to be on a spectacle like Evel Knievel, that's what I really dreamt of as a kid. I wanted to have an opportunity to do world-stopping stunt where the world's watching and be able to push.
Our next stop, canoeing. The pack is waiting for you there and is willing to show you some more of the racing culture.
Now I had that opportunity, I had to decide whether I was going to let fear stop me, because a lot of the people involved with the production were like, this is so crazy, we can't believe you're doing it. And they would like reassure me, there's no one here from our department that's putting pressure on you. If you don't want to do this, we totally get it. You don't have to do this. And I was like, no, I actually have to do this to answer my own question. And so that's what I realized through all my digging, was that this is more of like a question of myself. And now it's time for me to figure out The fear of facing to jump the canal was worse than in Vegas. So Vegas was really, and then the jumps before, but everything's been a prerequisite to get me to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. And whatever you do, whatever skill you want to harness is when you sharpen a knife, you see it get sharper, and nice to have a sharp knife.
It's very impressive. I will say, whenever I'm sat at the start line in my drift car about to compete, I'm like, I know how to do this. You know which gears you're going in, and then just like you said, that little voice like, yeah, but what if you spin? That point, and I'm like, shut up, it's fine. Everything's gonna be totally fine. You're famous for pushing boundaries and setting new records. So how are you refining your bikes to help you achieve these?
That's a tough question. I'm working towards my own goals. I think if I was invincible and I could be young forever, I'd probably still be trying to jump further distance records with the bike the way it is. But for me, there's one goal left for me, and that's all I'm working on. So I'm not here to replicate nothing, to do shows around the world. I think those days for me are gone. I just want to do my masterpiece, right? That's all I'm working on is my masterpiece, and then I'm done. So I'm not really in it for the long haul, but I think manufacturers are doing a great job. The bikes are getting better every year. Obviously, we are on the brink of the electric era, and that's going to change the game for everyone, whether they like it or not. But I think the exciting side of it is the electric side of it brings a lot more power. It's instant, and the characteristics of the bike become a lot different. So we're already seeing guys like Patrick Evans rides their bike, and when he does a whip, he's able to get on angles that we've never seen before.
Because of the weight, maybe, of the battery, or?
It's because there's less gyro with the engine, so it allows the bike to roll quicker. And then because there's no gearbox, and you're able to hit the throttle, and it does the full rotation of the back wheel, so that when you snap the throttle, you don't have to go through the gears to get the maximum RPM out of the back wheel. So with the twist of the throttle, that back wheel goes from stop to wide open in fifth gear in a few seconds in the electric version. So when you're able to whip the bike upside down, that inertia that the back wheel creates instantly creates that inertia. So you're able to kind of use that to twist you back into shape quickly. So Patrick's been able to learn better than anyone else so far to get his bike upside down and use that electric inertia that he's created from the rear wheel to set him straight again. So that's changing the game, and I think the incorporation of electric bikes is going to just make differences. But for what I've done, distance jumping, jumping on buildings, stuff like that, I don't know, I wanted to raise the bar to a certain height and then step out, and I feel like I've done that for the most part, and there's just one more masterpiece to hang on the wall, and then I'm going to follow my kids around and do what they want to do. So it's, but, I just hope to be able to be an ambassador and support these other kids coming up. Part of my vision is to be able to support the Robbie Madisons of the future.
Yeah.
And I don't really want it to be my kids, but it seems like they have their own ideas in mind, so I might be supporting them. But I just want to support athletes and help them create these moments that I've been lucky enough to have. The Rebel's been so great to me, giving me these platforms to have these show-stopping moments. And so I want to be an advocate for that and try and help people create those scenarios for themselves.
Well, we've talked a lot about dreams during our... Let's talk about dream vehicles. Now, my dream vehicle is a 66 Chevy Nova with a big block in it. Yeah, I would love to be able to drive that down Pacific Coastal Highway and just live out my entire American car fantasy. If you've ever seen the film Graffiti, that was what I grew up watching when I was a kid. So that's my dream vehicle. So let's imagine that it's your lucky day right now. You've got the choice of any bike that you could ride, and you get to take someone with you. What would you choose? Where would you go? And who would you take?
I'd want the fastest bike.
Talking MotoGP bikes or something?
Yeah. Want the farm. I mean, a bike that I rode, but I didn't get to ride it too much. I was just I was the Grand Marshal for Evil Knievel's 50th anniversary jump, and I got to ride the Triumph Rocket, and it's a 2,400 and something cc's, biggest engine they make on a motorcycle. I'd like to get that thing wide open. It seems so fast. If I was to be able to dream here for a second, I'd like something like that with an aero kit around it. So I'm not really a big fan of going fast and having the wind smash into your face. I like the wind going around you.
Yeah.
So I really like riding the baggers, because the baggers have the whole big fairing at the front, and you got room to put your stuff in the bags, and You can kind of put supplies and food and drinks and whatever and go for a ride and have wet weather gear and warm gear, whatever it is. But I'd take my wife, obviously, and I'd go to somewhere private, I'd ride to a hot spring or to a waterfall.
Aside from motorbikes and motorcycles, have there been any other memorable vehicles that you've tried and tested?
Yeah, I mean, I always loved hydrofoils, I think they're called, like hovercrafts.
Mm-hmm. They're really cool.
Yeah, I like them. Things that are amphibious just intrigue me, and I think that's why I was so stoked when I made the bike to be amphibious. It was like the coolest thing to be able to ride on the land and then ride onto the water and keep going. It was, it's still a trip to me now, but it was just one of the coolest things I've ever achieved was to be able to have that realization. So a hovercraft, I just think that they are a badass. The planes that are amphibious, these planes that can land on water, I think that's so cool, to be able to, kind of have the skids and touch down and land on the water and go fishing or swimming and then just cruise off and land back at your airport. I think that's really cool. So I think an older version of me will be doing that one day.
I was going to say, that was my next question. I was like, are we going to see you in some sort of flying boat contraption later on in life?
Yeah, hopefully not too far down the road. Yeah, I'm almost finished with my pilot's license, so I just I've finished the written and everything. I just have to do the medical. So I just have to pass the medical and then we're good. Working on that part.
So we're going to wind things down with a few rapid fire questions I ask all of the athletes. I want you to answer with the first thing that comes to your mind, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Extreme cold or extreme heat?
Cold.
Riding by day versus riding by night?
Day.
The last time you received a speeding ticket?
Within the year.
Vague.
Within the year. Don't know what country. Australia.
Do you sometimes talk to your bikes?
Yes. Yeah, profanities.
Sand, tarmac, dirt, gravel, ice. What are your top three and why?
The right dirt, road, and gravel. I think dirt, because the right dirt with the right water is just the best thing there is. When it's like, I ride the hills out here when it's dry, it's not that fun, but when it's dry.
Wangan-sen, also called Tokyo Bayshore Route, or Route B, is a famous stretch of highway for street racers. Almost every racer in the 80s and 90s knows about it.
It's the best time ever. The road, because it's just always good, especially when not always, but it's just a surface that I love. I love road bikes. If I had time again, I would have loved to go down that road. And then the gravel, I think gravel's just fun because you're sliding. It's nice and loose. So I love being able to drift around on the bikes or cars, whatever it is. So yeah, dirt, gravel, road, bike or car, I'll be happy in either or.
In your honest opinion, between rally, Formula One, and FMX, which is the most intense discipline? The one that brings...
First time in an F1 car, and I went down the straight, and I was like, there's no way we're getting around this corner, and we went right around it. I was in the two-seater one, so it was insane. So it gave me so much appreciation of the speed, the grip, and that. It's mind-blowing, but it's a hard question. I couldn't tell you. I'm just going to go with what I do the most. I'll say freestyle motocross. Just put one mark
in a
on the board.
nutshell.
Yeah.
FMX.
FMX, it's the gnarliest.
As you know, Motorfest, the podcast, is about the different motorsport disciplines that you can find in the new season 6 of the Crew Motorfest, be it off-road, flying, motorbiking, or GT. If you, for whatever reason, had to make a career change, which of these disciplines would you choose?
I'd go flying.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, you're destined to be in the air.
Yeah, I really love it. That or rally, I love rally. I loved every time that I did rally. I felt I was good at it, but it's an expensive game. So it's I couldn't make it work when I did have a shot at it, but I could drive the car at the right speed, but it's just when you crash those things.
Oh yeah.
It's expensive.
It's not like a game where you just go, boop, restart.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to explore some more.
All right, guys, that's it for today's episode of Motorfest, the podcast. Make sure you check us out on all streaming platforms. You can also see us on YouTube. Just type in my name, Becky Evans. You can also listen to this podcast whilst you're playing the game, The Crew Motorfest. Make sure you join us for all future episodes, and I will see you guys super duper soon. Bye.
I would say I use like a jet, you know, like you can see the fire from the exhaust, like full time. We risk our life, but it is what it is, you know, like, and hopefully you get a good machine. So I want to have like proper missile and how do you say, the minigun.
Yeah, the one with the Tommy gun with the...
Yeah, that one, yeah. And oil like a oil league weapon, something like that.
Perfect.
Defense.
Mad Max style, love it. What's happening, guys? My name is Becky Evans and welcome to Motorfest, the podcast, brought to you by Red Bull and Ubisoft's iconic game, The Crew Motorfest. This is the podcast where I get to chat with some of the world's leading motorsport athletes and delve into their passions for all things speed, wings and wheels. And the really cool thing is you can actually listen into this podcast whilst you're playing the game. Today's guest was born with some serious athlete instincts. I'd be very surprised if you hadn't seen or heard of him. His name is Yuki Tsunoda, and what he's most famous for is his electrifying talent on the F1 grid. He's been racing for about 20 years. Well, that's if you also include his career as a kid go-karter, growing up in Sagamihara, about an hour away from Tokyo. He lives in Italy currently, but he's joining me today here in Milton Keynes. Yuki, thanks so much for being here and welcome to the show. How are you?
Amazing. Just in the UK. Just flew back from Brazil. Yeah, just had a bit of 2 weeks gap, so excited for a bit of rest now.
So let's jump straight into it, Yuki. You've been described as a person who lights up a room when you walk into it. You're someone who knows exactly what you want, and you're unashamed and unafraid to express it. And in terms of your identity as a driver, you're known for quite a modern driving style. Could you break down what you feel your driving style is for us watching you on the screen?
My driving style, mainly, I have good confidence with the braking, so you know, I'm good at attacking the braking, so you can use that also in the 1 lap qualifying lap, hot lap, and also to overtake someone. I think this is coming from the karting skills when I was very, very young, like 13, 20, 12 years old or whatever. My dad used to teach me a lot about braking, and that kind of base or DNA still inside my driving skill. And definitely I like to attack braking. Recently last Grand Prix was a bit unfortunately a couple of times went to the wall, but still have good confidence and feels. When you feel the G-force, with the maximum longitudinal G-force when you have. Great braking.
How do you feel that you have evolved as a driver over these years? Obviously starting at go-karting and then to present day.
Shall we continue our journey, driver?
There are a lot of emotional things.
Our next stop, Kenneth. Iowa. The pack is waiting for you there and is willing to show you some more of the racing culture.
Yeah, as a human, I was growing
Be kind, rewind.
significantly, fast, and especially those time. And at some point, I even didn't like much motorsports. I got distracted by other sports. I'm a person like I want to try a lot of sports. I'm very active. So I tried like downhill mountain biking, swimming, a lot of kind of stuff, skateboarding, for example. And but yeah, I knew somewhere in my mind that
Wangen-sen, also called Tokyo Bayshore Route or Route B, is a famous stretch of highway for street racers. Almost every racer in the 80s and 90s knows about it.
What is the thing that I'm very good at, and
in fact, some of the best drivers have pushed their engines on this very road. Even notorious racing groups like the Midnight Club cut their teeth here. And that's what slightly inspired our next event.
I started 4 years old, and there's always strong passion inside my heart. So yeah, it started. It's kind of.
Can I help you?
Went through it, those moments, and very good at. And
there's been time where
and I was like half an hour into that, like just
Word in the street is that you shine like a real hasheria with my NSX. Got me interested.
Well, then I believe you're in for a treat.
Oh, yeah? Well, bring it on.
The show continues, kid, but watch out. You're driving Ren's Skyline this time, and there's no word to tell you how crazy she is about that car.
Can't blame her. The R34 is a legend. It's a kaiju.
Rebellion! Newbie wants to take the lead.
Car that takes skill to control.
Yep. Ren spent years taming that beast. That car got nicknamed Godzilla for a reason.
So basically, you crash Ren's car, better leave the planet.
One more time.
Well done.
You're a fighter. Is perfect to get a taste of the Wangen spirit, an absolute myth among Japanese street racers.
Yeah, picture the Tokyo Bayshore route with one thing in mind: never slowing down.
get it this time.
Wangan race, you gotta go fast, friend.
Well, guys, I don't think it's gonna be a problem. This is the skyline we're talking about. You're a fighter. Okay, you've got talent. This is getting interesting.
These dragons are massive.
You got a wish to make?
Not bad for a rookie.
Sharp turn. Careful.
Reminds me of that time Shingo missed a turn during a midnight race, supposedly because he was dazzled by the moonlight.
Oh, shut up.
I remember that.
Let's try that again.
Driver, this car was made to be first only.
Let's try that again.
Impressive drive. Gwen will be happy to know that the skyline has once again shown its supremacy.
There's been time where I was working 12 to 14-hour days, 7 days a week, working 2 or 3 different jobs sometimes, just to pay for another hour of flying and another flying lesson, and yeah, it's been worth it.
Welcome back.
Modern drifting technique was perfected by Japanese gearheads who raced in the mountains in order to keep city pedestrians safe. Along with suboptimal road conditions, these mountain passes are filled with hairpin turns and other challenges. Drifting is the best way to take sharp turns without losing speed.
To Motorfest, the podcast. My name is Becky Evans, and this is a podcast brought to you by
In Japan, we call these passes toge. There's even a toge style of racing.
And Ubisoft's iconic game, The Crew Motorfest. Now, in this podcast, this is where I get to talk to motorsport athletes about their passions, all things speed.
The winding mountain roads of Hawaii are as close as we could get to Japan. So we figured it would be a good place to teach you.
Wings and wheels. And you know what the really cool thing is? You can actually listen to this podcast whilst you're playing the game. So grab one of your dream vehicles, jump in, strap in, because you're about to hear from the athletes that actually get to drive these in the real world. Let's get the show started. Now, today we've got a very, very special guest. We're going to be chatting to Luke Chapella. Luke is a multi-award-winning Red Bull Air Race winner, known for his precision, skill, and fearless flying. From winning the Challenger Cup to landing, Luke is committed to pushing the boundaries of flying. Luke, we're delighted to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I'm just going to jump straight into it. I am terrified of flying, so when I knew I was going to be chatting to you, I was thinking this guy is going to have to tell me everything that gets him up in the morning and says, you know what, I'm going to do a loop in a plane.
You know, flying aerobatics gives you such a freedom, you know, it's not every day that you can fly.
Oh, and one last thing. A toge race usually features only 2 races. You got it. You're in for a duel.
You have to upside down, or you can fly it in reverse, like at 60 kilometers per hour. All the G-forces that we experience, it's something that you cannot experience on the ground. That's why I'm so happy to share it with other people. Give them the taste of the freedom that we get, and yeah, spread the joy of flying.
You and me this time. Why don't we put the whole festival euphoria on hold for a while and get a proper face-off? Let me show you what toge is all about. Relax. I've seen what you can do. Plus, I'll give you some tips on the way. Okay, you've got talent. This is getting interesting. The key to toge is being able to balance the brake and gas pedal at every turn. One wrong move and you're out. Technique isn't easy, but when you pull it off, you feel like the greatest driver alive, and the coolest. Let's keep the scratches to a minimum, shall we? gets tricky at high speed. Make sure you don't lose control. All the way down. That's the best and also the toughest part, so stay sharp. Just a few more laces and this is it. Come on, show me some real toge driving.
The podcast continues.
Freedom that we get, and spread the joy of flying.
Now, I come from a drifting background, and I was around cars from a very, very young age, and it was actually my dad who sort of ignited that in me, because I remember seeing him playing with his race car in the garage. It was the same kind of for you, wasn't it? You went to an air show when you were a very small boy, and then that was it. You were hooked.
Yeah, absolutely. My spark ignited when I was 6 years old. My dad took me to the air show in Poland, and it's just been amazing. You know, I was watching a robotic display, and the aircraft was doing a tail slide. It's a figure where you go vertically up, and it seems like you're shutting down the engine, and the aircraft starts to slide back on its tail. And I saw it as a 6-year-old kid, and I was like, Dad, I'm gonna do it in the future. And you know, many 6-year-old kids have different dreams every week. Sometimes you want to be a policeman, the week after you want to be a fireman. But for me, it has never changed. I've been flying now for 26 years, and I still love it.
That's absolutely crazy that you just picked your direction and just stuck with it. I mean, your first flight lesson, you were 14 years old, and then by 16, you'd got your license. So there was definitely method in your madness. This was all moving towards where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was so motivated. Like from this air show, I started playing with aircraft models, free-flying models, and then I just went to the airport and I became what's known as a hangar rat. You know, cleaning the airplanes for everyone, and in exchange that they would take me for a flight and usually let me fly the aircraft, give me the first lessons. By the time I went solo at 16, I was over the moon. It's been a lot of hard work, but so rewarding as well.
Luke, we were just saying to you just then, flying was always going to be what you were going to do. And I'm going to give you a question, which I almost feel like I know what the answer is already. If you could be a car, a plane, a boat, or a motorbike, which would you be and why?
Yeah, of course I'd go for a plane, but, you know, this is what my life is all about. It's always been about flying. I have 13,500 hours in the year. That's like 4 years of my life. 10% of my life has been spent in the air. So, I just want to be a better pilot with every flight I take.
I'd love to know more about the bullseye stunt. I mean, we saw and heard it at the beginning of the episode. Personally, for me, I remember seeing that, and I watched the video, and I had a heart attack and was like, oh my God, obviously I know that this guy made this happen.